hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Unpopular Review for AEW. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is the Administrator Stefan Viella, and tonight I have the pleasure of being joined by the All Elite Joker.
Good
What's up,
evening.
All Elite Joker? What's going on, brother?
Hey man, just had a good show. Happy to be here.
This show, happy to be here. Would you like to bring on our next co-host?
The next is my better half, my lovely, lovely wife, the wonderful and always insightful Divine Intervention.
Hey everyone.
Yeah. I feel like without saying this, I should pass the mic on to the lead for tonight, and that is the All Elite Joker, who will be taking us through AEW tonight. So, sir, floor is yours.
All right, Full Gear Go Home show. Just first takes, enjoyed the show. Had a good time. Thought it set up well. I mean, of course, we still got Rampage, but this, of course, was the setup show for the pay-per-view on Saturday, which again is Full Gear. We started off with Danielson versus Rocky Romero. Old New Japan. Hey. Old New Japan guys, you know, they have history from 2004, like all the way back to 2004, and it shows they know each other in the ring, even though it's been a while, but outstanding match to see.
The crowd was really fired up tonight too. Like everybody was really into it today. And definitely with Danielson's match, a great way to start off the show.
I enjoyed it. I think any match that you sprinkle a little Bryan Danielson in there is going to be an amazing freaking match. So having him open your show, definitely a good choice in terms of AEW's kind of structure of tonight's show being the go-home show. And like you said, Rocky Romero and him know each other from New Japan. Rocky Romero just became a member of Chaos, I'm hearing. Like that was a big thing. That
along with the thing, some of the best friends, yeah. Yeah.
So we pretty much figured out where Okada is going during his 2-month absence from New Japan. So keep your eyes peeled for Okada coming to All Elite Pro Wrestling, something that we've all been kind of patiently waiting for.
Always love all the New Japan crossover, the Forbidden Door being kicked all the way down. It's just so good. Oh, it's just so good. I mean, and then Danielson has just been on another gear since he got here. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think that every person he's gotten in the ring with, I'm pretty sure it's been their best match. But Danielson's always been known of like pulling good matches out of people you might not expect.
I think it's funny because like when he first came to WWE, we thought, okay, what is he gonna do? Because obviously, like I'm a big WWE guy, so seeing him leave the E and then go to AEW, we didn't know what to expect. It was like everybody's gonna wrestle the same style. Like, what's his moniker going to be? What's his name going to be? You know, is going to flip it and reverse and go back to what he used to be on the Indies. And every match I think he's had in AEW since arriving at AEW, I think it's more so pulling the best out of himself and then like kind of having the person keep up with him, because in WWE he was nerfed. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a very video game terminology, but it was really great to see he's taking bumps from the top. You know, he's suplexing right onto the back of his neck, and you're just like, oh, this guy's gonna kill himself. But
bro,
it's I don't know, like half of his matches I'm just like, oh my god, somebody call a doctor, he's dead. And then the other half is like, yo, this is the most incredible professional wrestling match ever. Don't stop doing wrestling this way, Bryan Danielson. Like, just keep doing it this way. So I feel like it's pretty cool.
That finish was absolutely just the back and forth of the whole contest, and then for him to finish and what I think Excalibur called it Tequila Sunrise, which was basically him going from the label lock into a cloverleaf. Like, that hurt my back just looking at it. And I was just like he is like, this is the most vicious I have seen him, but like still so controlled and outstanding. Every time I see him, it's just like, I don't think he could get any better, but then he just keeps pulling stuff out of his ass. Like, it's amazing.
I want to see him go heel.
Yes.
I think the most interesting thing is that he has finished everybody off with a different move. It makes it very hard to predict when the end of the match is truly going to be, which I think keeps it very exciting. Because while a lot of people have signature moves, which I think are great, I kind of like the fact that there is an element of surprise with every single one of his matches.
I think that's the fun thing about watching a Bryan Danielson match at this point. Not only the finish, it's just like we're expecting, I think for those of us who are fans of his from, like I said, the E, we're expecting him to finish with the running knee. He does a different finisher. And it's like just so entertaining seeing him. And I think him coming in around the same time as Punk and Adam Cole, you kind of had that comparison between the three of them for a little bit. And just, it's been great to see how they've all splintered off and done different things. But you can't really compare Bryan Danielson to what CM Punk is doing. You know what I mean? Because like, even with the finishes, like alone, like it's so amazing. But the match quality, like, see, like Daniel Bryan's in the ring like every single night. He's on Elevation. He's on Dark. He's like amazing. It's crazy.
Now, the thing I find the most interesting is he has definitely taken a lot onto his plate going into this pay-per-view, because he's had a match just about every show over the past couple of weeks, which obviously the people want to see him, but at the same time, it puts that little sprinkle of doubt in there when he goes against somebody like Miro.
I think that match, I don't want to skip ahead because I know we're getting to that, but I feel like two former WWE guys that know each other very well, have been in the ring with each other before, but are two completely different versions of themselves and like elevated, heightened versions of themselves. We're not going to get a WWE quality match from this one. And I don't think we know who's coming out like the victor of this one. I don't think there's a clear winner. I think like there's many people that look at this match and it's like, all right, well, Miro could take it because obviously his Soldier of God gimmick is just so amazing. And it's like, damn. Or Bryan Danielson could take it and continue trucking towards the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. But I don't know, like who gets it? Is the AEW vet in Miro, or is it the newcomer that everybody's rooting for in Daniel Bryan? So it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. There's like multiple stories happening at the same time with that whole situation.
Yeah, I can't call it. I mean, we've talked about it multiple times, and there's so many ways they could go with it, and it would still make sense. You know, even if, and then let's, for sake of argument, say it is Danielson who wins, and then you have him fight Hangman, you know, presumably saying Hangman wins the championship. If you take that and have Hangman be the first one to finally knock off Danielson, that really just solidifies. But also, if you do Miro, you can still make the same argument, you know, because I mean, Miro's been on a tear. Aside from him losing to Sammy, like the man's looked like a monster since the beginning of the year.
But think about it like this, you know, like I wasn't at this event, but my boys were when AEW was here in New York City, and during that, like that was like a pay-per-view quality ramp Dynamite, right? And the opening match was Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson. Supposing, you know, Hangman does not win Saturday and you get Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega 2. That's a huge possibility coming out of Saturday night. You know what I mean? So not to predict Saturday night and how that's going to end, but you have multiple ways to carry this going forward. If Miro's to win, and, you know, there's so many ways you could do this, but I think that's the wonderful thing about AEW, because we don't know the direction their booking is going. And we can't predict it, because if the long game is Hangman getting like this big pop and like this big amazing thing, you could do it at another pay-per-view. You could do it another time. You could do it even for Full Gear. But I think it's always going to be the chase with somebody chasing the championship. So that's all, like kind of that's what matters. But I think you kind of book yourself in a corner when you have Bryan Danielson. Like, you don't want to take his first L to some, like, for no reason. Like, to Miro, I don't think you're both, like, they're both in a can't lose situation right now. Exactly. It's a little difficult. It's a little dicey. Like, you have the dicey moments in professional wrestling where you're just like, oh, shit. I don't know who to go for. I don't know what they're going to do, but they got to do something, you know? So, I don't know.
Thank you so much. I don't know. I agree with you 100%. I think that whenever the L comes into play, it's got to be strategic, and you don't want him to take an L too soon, but at the same time, you want it to be believable, especially since he's been going through a tear on every person that he's gone up against up to this point. So if I had to speculate, I would say that Danielson pulls it out on Saturday, but I think that it's genius of them to sprinkle those seeds of doubt and make it where it really could go either way.
What's our next match?
Great. I was going to say. All right, next we had what was supposed to be a interview by Tony Schiavone to the Inner Circle. They got attacked before they even got halfway down the ramp by America's Top Team. And we had so much fun with Dan Lambert because Dan Lambert's great. I'm sorry. I enjoy Dan and his angry energy, but he's also like a giant child, and it's just amusing to me, and I can't help it.
I don't know. I think throughout this entire segment, I screamed at my television, where the fuck is Jorge Masvidal? Like, why? Like, one of the most relevant people on American Top Team is not in this segment. I don't give a shit about Junior Dos Santos. I don't care about anybody else. Like, Jorge Masvidal is probably the most notable name you have on American Top Team. He's not in this match. You have Dan Lambert put Chris Jericho in a shitty ass Walls of Jericho, and Jericho actually sold that abomination. And it was just like, for me, I sat there and I'm just like, I could get behind Dan Lambert's shenanigans. I could get behind them jumping the Inner Circle, but the powerbomb, like, I love this graphic because did you see the way, like, it wasn't like a lift and drop. It was, I fell with you. I came down to the table with you. Freaking Lambert puts it. Look at this. Look, and Jericho's laughing. You can literally Zoom function, people, and he's laughing at it. It's like, this is shit. Like, you know, like when you like, he didn't even tap out, and then Dan Lambert's trying to put his foot everywhere and position his foot in such a way that Jericho is like, he puts it on his chest, he puts it on his leg. It's like, what the fuck? I had a moment. I had a moment during the segment. I was like, no. Come on, this guy is the GOAT, and you're doing this shit. You could have done this completely differently. Like, what the fuck? But I don't know. Divine Intervention, what do you got? What do you got on this segment?
I honestly think that, I'll be honest, the American Top Team stuff really hasn't been my favorite segment at leading into this pay-per-view. I can respect that, you know, they're trying to bring in a different audience, you know, by bringing in professionals from a different sport. But I'll be happy when it's over. Honestly, though, I'm glad that Scorpio and Ethan are getting their opportunity to kind of be in the center and really shine. I think that without this segment, they've kind of been floating in the mid card, and this kind of makes them a little more relevant. And I guess the last thing I'd say is, yeah, that Wall of Jericho was not it. But I can respect it because I really feel like, for as much as Dan Lambert talks shit about all the people in AEW, he's a huge wrestling fan.
Whoever that jackass is in the comments that just said that needs to go himself. Anyway, I hate cartoon. The last thing I'll say about the segment entirely, and I think that we just move on from it. I don't know. I feel like AEW has a problem. If you're not on the main event picture, you kind of get lost. Like, if you're not the Elite, let's just be clear. Like, we're not the Elite. And I love the Elite. I'm not going to talk shit about the Elite at all. The Elite themselves are booked tremendously. I love you too, Chris. You can come on screen and say that to me yourself. You're backstage. Come on. But the Elite themselves, they book themselves really well. And they book other people really well, but I think it's the mid-card syndrome. I think that's the problem in AEW. It happens a lot. And like you mentioned, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, those two guys, obviously former tag champions with other people. And hopefully this leads to something, you know, hopefully. According to Elvis, UPR needs a new EC. Christopher Harris says they are old and outdated.
Okay.
The rousing opinion, Mr. Christopher Harris, whoever you are.
Anyway, getting away from America's top team, Ty J and Thunder Rosa versus Britt and Company, aka Britt Baker, Rebel, and Jamie Hayter. Trios match. Rosa and Britt started and had a nice little tease there. And I really want to see this match because, like, between Rosa and Britt, obviously, like, I feel like it will be an absolute banger. But, of course, Britt jumps out and just, tags out to Rebel and is like, okay, I don't want any of it. And so then we had the match from there.
Speaking of Rebel, Tay Conti pinned her, pinned her, and got the W. And going into a pay-per-view where she needs to beat a world champion, that's not going to happen. Let's just, off the table, she's not winning that belt. Obviously, you're building to that Rosa, Britt Baker feud again. So I like that they're keeping them away from each other for right now, and I just want to see this Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa too. I am definitely invested in that. But the Tay Conti stuff, it's filler. It's like, you're watching an anime and you got 3 great episodes and then this really bullshit episode that has clearly nothing to do with the storyline, but they're just putting it there to hold off on the rising action. Why the fuck is this here? It doesn't matter. Is she going to win the title on Saturday? They're going to have a really great match. DMD's coming out with that belt. So I don't know why she gave her the stare after the match, like she was scared of her and ran up the ramp with her belt like heel shit. But at the same time, it's like, come on.
Technically, she was outnumbered at that point because Hayter and Rebel were both out for the count.
Thunder Rosa murdered.
That's the only thing that I can say, because I don't think that Britt Baker's truly afraid of Ty Conti, but you have to respect a numbers advantage.
Okay, look, numbers advantage aside, I don't want every single heel champion or heel in a wrestling company to look like a chicken shit. It just can't happen, especially somebody that's as over as Britt Baker. Let's just discuss how over she is and how consistent she's been in her matches since becoming the world champion of the women's division, and just how well she's been booked. I don't feel like this did a disservice. Obviously, they're trying to get Tay Conti over as well with this segment and having her get the pin. But at the same time, there's run away, walk away, don't make a face come on. I don't know. I like dominant looking heel champions. I'm not saying be Bobby Lashley and just, a Roman Reigns and smash and stack and whatever, but I think she definitely has this aura about her that she just needs to continue to keep strong, And then her husband's playing. Her husband is playing chicken shit, so he can't have both of them at the same time playing chicken shit. Okay, something's got to give here.
I agree. I think Dr. Britt Baker's been a very dominant force in the women's division right now as the champion, and all I can say is I'm just glad that they are trying to take steps to address the women's division. By making it to where women are assisting women. So you're kind of building these, alliances. These are things that the men do without a second thought, but we haven't seen this type of thing in the women's division. So I think as long as they continue in this path, it can only get better from here. But I agree. I would want Dr. Britt Baker to come out on top after the pay-per-view.
I like that you mentioned the women's division because that's one thing that's always come under fire with AEW is their women's division. And Kenny Omega gets a lot of flack for that because he's like, all right, well, you're focused on your world championship, but look at your women's champion. She's gold. When she first started, there was a slow burn to her ascension. And now that she's on top, we don't want to see her lose that belt. Where she's going is DMD. It's they're fantasy booking her in matches with women we would never thought that she'd be in the same conversation as, you know what I mean? So I really appreciate what AEW's done with their women's division. So yeah, our backstage guy just said DMD. So he did the DMD thing backstage. So it's pretty cool. It's addictive. It's DMD. It's great.
Hey man, and like the amount of attitude that she puts into it every time is outstanding. I love how she ends every promo she does with it. Doesn't say it, doesn't mouth it. She just like what to do, and and it's you hear the whole crowd DMD. I mean,
I have a question. Which is bigger? Is it the DMD or the Adam Cole baby? Because
Oh,
that
Adam
is
Cole
definitely in that house.
Ooh.
Thanksgiving is coming up. So we got to ask that question. It's a smart question. Like, what do you guys think in the audience? What is bigger? Is it the DMD from Britt Baker or is it Adam Cole, baby? Chris says Adam Cole, baby.
I was about to say, I mean,
I love baby too, but I mean, if you were like my friend was, they were at the pay-per-view that they had here, not pay-per-view, but the Dynamite they had here in New York, and they were like the DMD stuff, it's just like crazy, like it's over as hell. So we have some people say DMD. I hope that was not a B. Jesus Christ, please don't be a B. Okay. Could you put up that? Okay, it's a D. Good stuff. Good stuff.
It's just backwards. It's just backwards.
Taking away nothing from DMD. Thank you so much. What do we got next, Holy Joker?
Okay. Up next, we had Jungle Boy versus Anthony Bowens. I'm always happy to see.
Hold on, time out. Before we go to the next match, speaking of the women's division, can we take a quick minute to talk about the Ruby Soho, Chris Statlander TBS Championship bracket promo?
Yes.
Look, I don't think it's going to be it's not going to be match of the night, but I am very interested to see these two come together. They're both very talented, both have a lot to offer, and honestly, anytime Ruby Soho's in the ring, I'm with it.
Yeah, I'm with. I feel like I love Ruby Soho, and I'm gonna always be behind her. But I think Statlander, there's an argument to be made about Statlander, especially with her match with Britt Baker. She definitely has proven herself in the ring, and is somebody that I could see as a contender for that TBS title. So I want to see her go over. Like you mentioned earlier, the women helping other women and elevating them. Mm-hmm. Ruby Soho is a veteran. So at this point, do you truly need that title at this point, or should you give it to a younger person that could really use it, better, I would say. So I think there's arguments to be made on both sides, but I think that Chris Statlander should go over, and it should be a really great match. Like you said, it's not going to be the match tonight, but it's going to be great. Guys, if you like what you're seeing, please like, love, share, subscribe. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, everything. So please, if you like it, share us all your wrestling fan pages too. Tell your brothers, sisters, uncles, cousin. Tell your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wives. Come watch us. Like we're on all the time. Like our backstage guy will list the amount of shows we have during a calendar week. Go ahead, Holy Joker.
Okay, then we had Jungle Boy versus Anthony Bowens. That was a fun match. Anthony Bowens has had a good amount of singles matches lately, and I feel like he's been outstanding. It was quite a stiff match. Jungle Boy was really laying it into him. I don't know if you saw how red his chest was getting, but like they were going at it. And so of course Max gets involved. I believe Elvis made a comment about Max's rap, as always, always highlighted the night.
I got words about that man's promo. About that man's
which one?
Rap. I got
which one?
Tonight, I like sometimes you listen to a rap song and you hear a line, and you're just like, pause. Like, what did you just say? Like, hold on, what did you say? Apparently, Caster has fetishes. He legitimately said to Jungle Boy, I don't know if anybody else caught this. I was literally listening to the shit. And he goes, I would kiss you, but I won't, even though you're one of my fetishes. And I said, I just looked over at my screen. I'm just like I thought about it for like 2.2 seconds. Like, I'm like, did he actually say it? And then I went online, and it was like, because if you guys don't know, Anthony Bowens is openly gay. He is one of Pro Wrestling's openly gay superstars that got a contract at a top tier promotion. So for Max Caster to say that, or to make that allusion, was pretty interesting. And what I felt like, it was like, you know, like obviously supporting your tag partner, but how much of it did you mean? And then what other, you know, like, I think that was one of those moments, like, okay. That was a subtle line, and if you weren't paying attention, it was like right over your freaking head.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I listen to Max intently, like intensively, just every time. Like I listen to everything he says because like he's always just dropping little stuff in there. And yeah, he's gone a little far sometimes, but I'm sorry, the man's entertaining and he grew on me. I'll be one of the first to say it. When I first saw Max, I was like, who is this guy? Like, I'm like, he was kind of, you know, but over time he's like perfected his craft, and yeah, their dynamic is just outstanding. Yeah, I caught the fetish line too, and it made me laugh, like pretty much everything, along with the 7 guys line.
Christopher Harris says second best tag team in the business. So who do you consider the first best tag team in the business? I'm asking a question just for the audience, so don't give the look wherever you are in the universe. Probably give me the side eye of some shit. But it was a really great match. I mean, I commented on the rap itself, but in terms of the match, very competitive match. Jungle Boy has this fire lit under his ass at this point. You know, like he's really playing up being one of the 4 pillars of AEW. And I really like the fact that he has this newfound edge to him. You know, he's throwing out the whole facial hair and stuff, no shave November. He's observing it. So it's really great to see this kid. Oh, so that's the first. That's the first. We the ones. We the ones. I got it. I understood it. I understood the assignment. I got you. But what I will say is that it's awesome to see Jungle Boy go, but he got his ass kicked after this match. So he got his ass destroyed after this match. We can talk about it. Just somebody jump in.
Oh my gosh.
There was. I don't know if you saw it during the picture-in-picture or not, but there was like some kind of little like scuffle in the crowd between Max, Anthony, and some people in the crowd. Like, not exactly. I can't argue with that.
I can argue with that. You got God. You got a bunch of. Come on, man. You got a bunch of tag teams, man. Don't. Elvis, shut up. Puerto Rican Princess 31682. That's a very interesting name. Says FTR sucks. That is all. FTR sucks.
Well, I mean, I like FTR.
To each their own, but you can be wrong, and I definitely say you are wrong.
Oh no. Anyway, so Jungle Boy takes out Max Caster, and then with a tope suicida. Then hits Bowens with the snare trap, and of course he tried to crawl to Caster, but couldn't make it and tapped out. And then he got his ass whooped at the end of the match by Bobby Fish, because Bobby Fish.
How much fish can Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish did fry fish? Every time. Every time I hear Bobby Fish, I think of freaking that riddle. How much fish can Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish did fry fish? Okay.
Oh, bless.
God bless that man.
Divine Intervention, what you got for Jungle Boy getting his ass whooped?
As soon as I saw who was coming down that ramp, I knew what was up. I mean, we all know where Bobby Fish and his bestie come from, and that's who they're about to face down at the pay-per-view. So I was like, of course he called his homeboy to come and handle some business on his behalf. I think it's a very interesting angle, because they could have very easily just gone the traditional route and, obviously had the Super Click be involved somehow. But I like that there was this kind of extra layer to it. And I think with the kind of promo segment that happened after this, it kind of tied everything together.
Because this was also...
Go ahead, bro.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, because this was one of the first times we've actually seen Adam, legitimately acknowledge Bobby, and kind of be like, yeah, this is my homeboy,
I don't know if y'all remember Velveteen Dream and Aleister Black when there was that whole acknowledge me shit that they were doing.
Yes.
That's what it felt like. Like he was not acknowledging him, not on BT, not on anything. He's like, we don't know each other. We didn't grow together. And tonight, having them in the same talking space and like having like Bobby play up like he was about to step to Adam and it's like, yo, give me a dap up. You know, like I know I messed up or whatever. It was like a relationship being fixed and it was like super awesome. But I think the funniest part of that entire segment had to go to the Young Bucks because there was a line dropped that the Young Bucks are the greatest tag champions in the world, and that can't be disputed. And both Adam Cole and Bobby Fish broke character, like completely, and they just like it semi-ruined the segment, but I found like it made it even funnier because the Super Click are a bunch of idiots anyway, so it just matched their energy. So it was just a very funny moment, and I think if you're a very smart fan and you kind of remember where they come from, it was like, aha, they didn't only do it on BTE, they do it on the Dynamite show too.
Mhm.
Aha, Undisputed got hit because nobody talks about Undisputed anymore. NXT 2.0 took over. There's not a single mention of Undisputed whatsoever, even though Kyle O'Reilly is still there. You know, so
Poor guy.
it's poor guy.
Like, that's one of those things. Yeah. No, he's only good at grilling stuff. Yeah.
That's an argument. Who's better, Undisputed Era or the Elite?
Well, I feel like I got two different.
Are we doing the Super Click or the Elite in general?
That's a good question.
The Elite, because if it's the Elite, then that doesn't include Adam Cole. So that would be UE in their entirety.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So guys, in the comments, let us know who's better, Undisputed Era or the Elite.
That's a good question.
That's a great question. I don't even know what like. I feel like UE just because they're fucking amazing, but I don't know. I feel like the Elite is nerfed in AEW, but I feel like if you're doing New Japan's version of the Elite, where it's Cody and everybody else coming together at Hangman Page, those, that's when it's like, yeah, that's a huge argument.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're talking about, is it the entire team together or is it each individual component that makes it up? Because just like, we were saying that, maybe Bobby Fish isn't on the same level as, some of the other people that might be in the locker room. If you take the sum of its parts, the Elite might win out. But if you're talking about a cohesive unit that's always operated as one, the Undisputed Era probably would take that.
Definitely Undisputed Era, because in terms of like them even coming into NXT and just like forming and just like how dominant they were, like they won every single championship I think in NXT before all their tenures were over, and even Roderick Strong is now a champion still, at the back of that. So I really appreciate the fact that they're all in really great spots at this point, except Kyle O'Reilly. If he does not win a championship soon, he just needs to leave. But in any case, I think the argument is pretty solid. But I don't know, like if it's some of their parts, the Elite. If it's just cohesive unit, it's the Undisputed Era. So food for thought, y'all. Before y'all answer that question, what else we got?
Then we got a quick promo package, video package for CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. I'm excited for that match. They've put a lot of, they made it feel very real, which, always adds weight to a wrestling match and to a story. Eddie already, confirmed that he was intentionally kind of mimicking the promo that Punk cut on John, all those years ago in like 2011. And so like just seeing how they've molded this into the story that you just like, okay, I got to see the end of this. This looks like these two guys are about to murder each other, which we'll get to that later. Quick promo, really good. Divine, anything on that promo package or anything?
I just thought it was nice to kind of have all those different voices talking over what was happening. Taz's opinion, JR's opinion, Excalibur kind of giving his area of expertise. But I agree. I think it's just going to be an explosive match.
Do we have the ability to kind of travel back to when these gentlemen were first coming up and actually see Eddie Kingston holding bags for the elder statesman. Like, do we have footage of this shit?
Man,
I feel like sometimes you ask yourself, does Eddie Kingston know this is not a shoot? It's work. And that's how it really gets. And then CM Punk is just such a masterclass at just storytelling. So obviously they were very invested, and I'm ready to see it. I'm ready to see it go down. I honestly think if there's anybody that could possibly give CM Punk his first L, it is Eddie Kingston. So that's how believable he is in this position. But more than likely, they're just going to have CM Punk go over by a near. It's going to be as close as Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman. That's how close it's going to be.
Yes.
But it's going to be razor thin. But CM Punk's, because if Kenta's calling him out, and New Japan has a great working relationship with AEW, I think that's the route you go. I don't think Eddie Kingston wins this match. I think Kenta versus CM Punk has interest and intrigue. It has for years, and now we can finally have it. So why not have him go over and then have Kenta come back over to AEW and GTS CM Punk? You know what I mean?
Oh man, that'd be outstanding. Next up, we had Wardlow murdering Wheeler Yuta. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed this as quick as it was. I enjoyed Wardlow playing into the crowd. He powerbombed everything out of him the first time, and then of course the sadistic crowd that we usually are chants one more time, so he picks him up, does it again, and then they said one more time, and he looked around and then gave him two more and then gave him that beautiful knee off of the the beautiful knee off the top rope. Always puts people to sleep. It's beautiful. Wardlow wins. Poor Wheeler Yuta. Thoughts?
Just a side note before we get into the match specifically, I just find it very interesting that there are so many knee finishing maneuvers in AEW. And there's so many different variations. It's not the same knee. It's, running knees off of stuff, people falling onto knees. Knees are deadly. Just watch out for knees. As far as this match is concerned, it was a massacre. Poor Wheeler Yuta. Everybody's just been picking on him. Jon Moxley destroyed him the other week.
Jesus.
Wardlow now. I mean, I'm glad he's getting to see some TV time, but poor Wheeler Yuta.
We were trying to locate AEW's lower card. I think when I was talking to a friend of mine, he was like, where's your mid card? Where's your upper card? And where's your lower card? Wheeler Yuta has all the potential in the world to be upper mid card. He, TNT champion, whatever. But he is the equivalent of a jobber. And this is just getting jobbed out to Jon Moxley, who obviously thoughts and prayers are with him as he goes through treatment. It made sense because Jon Moxley was more than likely going to turn heel. Yeah. So that was a point of that. But then having Wardlow run through him and get a face reaction. Wardlow got a face reaction out there tonight. It wasn't a heel reaction. It was, hit him again with another powerbomb. Do it again. And he's playing to the audience. And it's like, are we getting a Wardlow turn at this point?
I feel like we are.
I want to see him versus MJF already. I am tired of waiting for that. I am ready to see him smash MJF.
You're going to have to wait a little longer. He's already put a roadblock in his way with Shawn Spears.
Shawn Spears is
I mean, look.
Storyline word.
How much of a roadblock? Who really knows?
10 seconds. If he did that to Wheeler Yuta, 10 seconds with this chairman. That's it. 10. That's it. That's all he's gonna get. Smart fans, you know what this means. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna be a big enough roadblock. I feel like it's gonna take the entire Pinnacle to stop Wardlow if he goes off. You know what I mean? But I feel like we need to see that in the next 6 to 8 months. We need to see that feud. We need to see him turn face because the reaction he got tonight and the way the crowd was behind him, this is Vince McMahon's wet dream of a superstar. Mm-hmm. He has all all the tools. I think he just needs a mouthpiece. I think that's the only thing. But who knows? But he could be a world champion someday. So I really liked what he went out there and showed tonight, even though it was a squash. It was like a huge squash. And as we all have said, poor Wheeler Yuta, because he was laid out, sprawled, like the best friends were out there, like wiping off his chest, like, you'll get him next time, buddy. You'll get him next time. Don't worry.
Yeah, I felt bad for him, but yeah. And then, of course, that wasn't it, because then the HFO came out and attacked even more. So no rest for Wheeler Yuta. And then, Orange Cassidy got a twist of fate with his head in between a chair. So that looked like it felt wonderful.
He sold the shit out of that movie.
He sure did.
Selling. We don't give wrestlers enough credit for their selling of moves. That's a high impact move, especially with a chair. And mind you, did he botch a little bit? Yes. But there's no way I'm taking a twist of freaking fate with a chair around my neck straight. So I would have put my knee down just like he did. But the moment that chair left around his neck, he made me believe that he was in true pain.
And you saw how red he was. Like he looked like he had just he just crushed his esophagus. Like it looked terrible. I was like, is he okay? Like the sell was outstanding.
Yeah. It was amazing selling. I enjoyed his selling and just flipping around the ring like a fish and just everybody watching it. And I feel like Matt probably felt bad because like, oh shit, I really fucked this dude up. That's good selling when you confuse the people in the ring with you, like because you saw Matt looking concerned for like a second, turn around like, oh shit, he's good.
You have something to find?
Well, I am just surprised that it's leading to a lumberjack match. You know, like getting a twist of fate with a chair, I would have expected that they would have had some sort of I don't want to say street fight because I don't want to get into the habit of calling like a no disqualification match. Oh, it's such and such street fight. But I don't know if a lumberjack match is going to be enough, you know, but at the same time, I also feel like we've seen this feud. So while I'm happy that they're giving Matt and Orange Cassidy something to do, I kind of wish that it was with other people.
Question for Divine Intervention. Divine, who is your favorite wrestler of all time and why? You missed the all, jackass.
Oh, wow. Okay. Of all time, well, I'd have to go with The Rock. The Rock's always been my favorite wrestler. I mean, just from my personal favorite, I think he's always been super charismatic. I love a lovable asshole. Like that's my favorite trope. So, and he's just truly electrifying. Anytime people are in his presence, like they just want to be around him. So, and if I had to say like my favorite current wrestler, it kind of have to be in the same lineage. I really love Roman Reigns. And I know I'm the AEW girl and there are plenty of AEW wrestlers that I am a super huge fan of, but Roman has kind of always had my heart. And I'm so proud that he's in the position he's in now and getting the love that he's really deserved for the past few years.
Great answers. You made one executive consultant very happy with that last answer of yours. Keeping it within the bloodline. You see what I did there?
Absolutely.
All right, Elvis said Roman is better than The Rock. That is arguable. That is very arguable. I'm not gonna have that debate right now. That's arguable. Next segment, brother.
Yeah, we'll do that Roman Rock debate later. Okay, then we had Punk and Kingston actually trying to beat each other's asses in the parking lot. And I don't know about y'all, but this like we're starting to see that side of Punk that I've been waiting to see, which is that intense, I can kick your ass. Okay, like I'm a nice guy, but I can kick your ass. Like that's the Punk I've been waiting to see. So getting to see him being held back. And then of course, Eddie's just like we said, Eddie doesn't know that, Eddie's life is wrestling. That is, Eddie makes you feel like everything that they do is real, like it's personal. Look at that face. That's a great face right there.
Looks like an angry old man at Target or Whole Foods yelling because he didn't get what he wanted. That's what
Trader Joe's. I'll give you Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's. Okay. Oh, okay. Trader. I'll take it. I'll take it. Trader Joe's.
I'll give you Trader Joe's.
He looks super angry. Like and like I agree with you. Like for CM Punk, I think we have been waiting for him to get this no nonsense kind of not heel, not face tweener kind of attitude where we can see him do heel tactics to win a match but still be a face somehow and just still be as over. This cookie cutter bullshit he came, I want to give away free ice cream bars. I like when he said, fuck them ice cream bars. I want money. Like, I don't know if you guys remember when he was in WWE, like, fuck this. Like, look at this, like, Eddie Kingston got in his face. And there wasn't many people back in the day that could go toe-to-toe with CM Punk on the stick. But, like, you got a guy that is, like, literally, I'm going to retire you again. And you're gonna kick your ass at Full Gear, and you're gonna leave for 7 years again, and nobody's gonna give a shit. And that's what sparked the headbutt initially. That sparked this entire feud that we had, in this entire brawl that we had. And can we just acknowledge the fact that AEW has no security whatsoever? They can't afford security with all the contracts that the WWE they're buying up. They cannot afford good security because you got these people fighting. You got your wrestlers splitting them apart, and it's like everybody's like, "Hey, just hold them here. Just let's keep them a little longer." And like, somebody let go. I'm not gonna say who. Someone let go before the segment was over and was like, "Bullshit. Come on, man. The cameras are still." It's like we're live, pal. Stay on them, bro.
Also, just want to throw that out there. Eddie's a lot faster than I was expecting him to be. Like when he broke away, I was like, "Damn, Eddie's actually really quick." It's a lot quicker than I was expecting to see him move. Which also made me very excited for this match because I'm like, man, Eddie's going to wear him out because we all know Eddie is one of the stiffest guys in the business. Like his chops, they hurt me. Like looking at Danielson after the Suzuki match and then looking at Danielson after Eddie's match, I was just like, I thought it couldn't get worse than Suzuki. But seeing his just like, because we all know like Danielson, he's always had that like really, the blood pumps like real bad on him. But like he was like black and purple and just like you could see the handprints that Eddie left on his chest. It was just so raw.
Eddie ain't pulling shit. Eddie ain't pulling shit in the ring. Like Eddie's not pulling a goddamn punch in the ring. You get punched in the face and you think it's a work, it's a shoot. Like Eddie's fighting for his life out there. He is trying to make it home to somebody. So you get in the ring with Eddie Kingston, you getting fucked up. Like it's not a work at that point. It's a shoot. You're literally in a real street fight. And he says it like the way he's talking to CM Punk. I believe that you thought like he thought he was an elitist. I believe that you was carrying his bags. I believe CM Punk when he says you suck. And then you get in his face like, yo, I'm gonna send you away for 7 more years. Like he's gonna chop his fucking whole chest off. And it's gonna be funny because it's gonna probably wake CM Punk the fuck up. This babyface character is not the shit. And he's gonna start acting the way we want him to and maybe never wear those long trunks again. Whatever the fuck he's wearing these days. Like
the long boys.
The long boys, like, you're not Edge. Fuck.
Oh, no.
Hey, man.
You're not Edge. You can't. How bad are they? Like, let's be honest. It's shit. It's shit.
I don't have a problem with the long boys.
I don't know.
Like, I really don't.
I just look at it and I just think, yo, this is just no.
It was like when Adam Page switched over to pants. I was like, I actually like the pants, especially since he got the little tassels and shit going down the side. I mean, it makes him look more like a cowboy, I guess. But like, I don't know, he switches back and forth. I don't see the problem, honestly, personally. But anyway, then we had what could arguably have been match of the night, which was that tag team match with Matt Sydal and Lee Moriarty versus Dante and Lio Rush. I feel so bad for the commentary team trying to call this match. Like the speed and the fluidity of this match was outstanding. Watching Dante Martin and Lee Moriarty I was just like, this, I can't wait for this to just be the standard of what we're seeing. Like, the transitions were outstanding. Oh, why is Gil? Who do you think is the best Canadian wrestler of all time, and why is Gail Kim?
Why is it?
Why would you like? Let's just ignore the question because Elvis is a troll and he's trolling you with really horrible questions.
Yeah, that's
easy.
Anyway. So yeah,
Canada's the best wrestler in Canada.
Agreed. So yeah, Lee Moriarty and Dante Martin had an outstanding just back and forth, and then of course for them to swap out with Lio and Matt, watching those two go. Lio is so incredibly quick. Like, you blink and you miss half of the stuff he's done. It's crazy. He's looking a little bit faster than I remember him in the E, and a lot stronger. Like his ring gear, the full body suit. I feel like more people should do those. I liked when Ricochet did it, but he didn't really stick with it. But yeah, just this match for me was outstanding. Like, the whole layout of the match, each person got to shine, and then you had multiple moments where it was Dante and Lee, and I feel like they really pushed and carried that match, which I appreciated from AEW. You know what I mean? Like, having the two younger wrestlers with their two mentors on the outside, it's truly what what they're there for. They are mentoring the next generation and teaching them how to be the best wrestlers that they can be, and I have nothing but respect for that. Thoughts?
All I had was wow in all caps. This was my match of the night, hands down. I think both, like, Dante Martin has had an opportunity to shine on Dynamite over the past couple of months. And this was kind of like Lee Moriarty's coming out party. Like, we all know Lio Rush is very talented, and it was so nice to see him in the ring, kind of leading the charge as far as, keeping everybody in pace. But I really feel like this was Lee Moriarty's coming out party, and he really showed out. Just like you said, Joker, both Dante Martin and Lee, seeing them together, it kind of gave me a glimpse of what the next 5 years is going to look like for this company. Really kind of putting it on the pillars back and all the younger talent that go along with that. I think I agree. Good on AEW, and I can't wait to see more from them.
I want to just highlight Lio Rush for a second, because I feel like anytime, a professional wrestler kind of peels back that character veil a little bit and just kind of lets you in and humanizes them. Lio Rush lost his grandmother either tonight or last night.
Oh,
and
wow.
to dedicate this match to his grandmother. And then, like you said, just push the future forward, because it wasn't always sure that he'd end up in AEW. He did retire. And I think with wrestling retirements, it's like that adage of never say never. Somebody could always come out of retirement for enough money, or because they're pushed to do it, like Shawn Michaels, who obviously will never come out of retirement again, hopefully. Keep our fingers crossed. But what I will say is that anytime you could come out and you can push the future forward, and anytime you could come out and literally leave our jaws on the ground, not just because of the speed of how fast you're moving, but because of how you're handing the ball off to the next gen, and just like we're seeing that transition in motion. That's always great. The problem, and I hate shitting on the E. The problem with the E is that sometimes top guys want to keep the top spot, but it's always about raising the next generation up. And I loved seeing that tonight. And I loved the fact that you had that Dante Martin and
yes.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who noticed that.
That's wonderful. I like that moment that they both had after the match, where Lio Rush is on the ground and Dante Martin, he's looking at him, he's like, "This is you. You're like the future. You're the truth. Like, I told you. This is what I told you. You're good." So, and take nothing away from Lee Moriarty either. Those guys carried this entire match. Matt Sydal was on the side with Leo, just chilling, like, "Yo, we're gonna get in here. We're going to have our little smacks or whatever. We get the fuck out of here. We're going to leave these guys to lead this. And like, I think Divine Intervention, you said this yourself. This is what the next 5 years is going to look like. And if the next 5 years of AEW looks like this, then it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
One last thing about this match before we move on. I find it very interesting that they've kind of tweaked Dante and Lio's interactions. Over the past couple of weeks, Lio has been kind of aggressive, and it really is in contrast to Dante's personality. And it was very interesting because it's like, okay, why is Dante going along with this? But kind of being in the ring with him, obviously picking up the win, and Lio taking it upon himself to say, you finish it, I think really is going to push Dante ever closer to Lio's corner. And it kind of makes their partnership more believable. Because now it sort of feels like, I think when we were watching it, we kind of commented this like almost like an older cousin taking a little cousin under their wing. Like, he's up to no good, but at the same time, like, he's also kind of looking out for his. So I'm very interested to see how this relationship unfolds over the next couple of weeks, since originally it seemed like they were setting it up for Dante's brother to come back, but now it almost seems like they might be a tag team for a little while.
Or trios, because those trios titles that people have been talking about for ages, we could implement that. And we do have a couple of trios teams. Best Friends, just name a few. I just named one. But, the Super Click, Elite.
Mm-hmm.
So they could integrate those titles into the mix and they could be a trio. I think after this match, I don't want to see Lio Rush leave Dante Martin. And I feel like the same goes for Dante Martin's brother when he comes back, because they can definitely sit under that learning tree for a little bit and learn so many good things before either kicking him out of the group or him just leaving and doing his own kind of solo stuff.
I agree.
Yeah, if you could hear, Dante, Lio was yelling at Dante, at the end of the match. He's like, you finish it. It's your time. He was telling him, get up there. It's your time to do this. It's your time to shine. And so just to see Dante hit that double springboard moonsault that he does ever so beautifully, I'm so excited to see what the future holds for AEW, because I feel like, just real quick and then we'll move on. I feel like AEW, for better or for worse, will often try and push their younger talent and just almost to see if they're ready, like they did that thing with Brian Pillman earlier this year. I feel like it was a good first run for him. Is he ready to be out there every night? No, but he didn't do terrible. He did a pretty good job. And I feel like he's, working to be the wrestler that he wanted, to make his father proud, and seeing so many young wrestlers out there in Jungle Boy, Max, Sammy, Darby, and then obviously Dante. I mean, Dante's 20, right? He's 20 years old. He's got so much time left. Like, can you imagine Dante in 10 years? Like, I just excited to see what the future holds with AEW with all this young talent. Then we had another beautiful match, and I feel like the fire was lit under these two veterans after that tag match because it was so amazing. But then we had Pac versus Dax Hardwood from FTR, and I'm going to, polarizing statement, but I highly enjoyed this match. I'm a huge fan of FTR's. They're solid, always consistent, old school style. I love that stuff. It's one of the things I love about AEW. You can see so many contrasting styles, and you can see, flippy stuff. You can see very good technical wrestling. You can see old school, just hybrid, whatever you want, it's here, And so to see Pac, who's much more of like a high flyer striker, and grappler, and then you got Dax, who's much more of an old school kind of guy. They beat the hell out of each other. And talking about those chops from Eddie, man, we can't discredit Pac's chops because he chopped this man so hard in his chest that he started bleeding. And I was like, that's impressive. Like, you chopped someone so hard that you just broke skin. Like, that's impressive. And it just went full throttle from there.
This is my
What
match
you
of
guys
the
think?
night. This was my match of the night.
See, and that was my,
This is my match of the night. I think, like, I would say that, like you said, the match prior to this one kind of, like, those young guys went out there and kind of showed what the future is.
Yeah.
Let's show them what the present, let's show them about the past. Let's show them what the foundation of all this is. And, doing technical wrestling, like dives, all this other stuff. And you come to expect these things from Pac. And then, like, having the brutalizer locked in to end the match and not letting go. And everything that happened after, I think, is just one of the craziest things, because, like, they're putting so many elements into this story, and, like, even bringing Cody and Malachi Black rather now, Andrade, El Idolo, like, bringing them all into the end of the same feud, That's like the Lucha Brothers, like, it's just all of these different elements, and these are all tremendous professional wrestlers. And we even got another match out of this whole segment for the Full Gear pay-per-view. So I mean, I loved it in entirety, the entire match, and I loved the shenanigans afterwards. I feel like the setup that they're doing, like, because I spoke earlier about not knowing AEW's direction. They don't take the most linear approach to professional wrestling, which sometimes taking, a direction that we're not expecting kind of has. That's why we're professional wrestling fans. Like, we don't want you to give us straightforward all the time. Like, sometimes just Liv Morgan being a champion, straightforward. Let's do it. Let's do that. But
yes,
please, But in terms of just, where Cody's character is going, that is something that we don't know. Like, we're not sure if he's a tweener now. We're not sure if he's going heel. It's one of the most. It's one of the most amazing storylines, and we're following. We're just like, turn him already, but then we see him do face shit. We're like, don't turn him ever. So it's amazing when you have that reaction from the same person, and that's what professional wrestling is all about. Confuse me so I can get more entertained by this and be more invested and show up on Wednesdays when I usually only watch wrestling on Fridays. Please.
And the interesting thing is all the things that you listed out, all the different angles and all, I think eventually they will get to them all. Somehow we will touch on all of those different story points. And that is definitely what makes me excited for the future, because there is no linear path. There is no, okay, here's point A, point B, point C. We've gone to Z and come all the way back again. So as far as this match in particular is concerned, I agree that it is interesting that a new match came out of it, which, looking at the card for Full Gear, I figured at least one or two new matches would be coming out of this show. So it's interesting that this was one of them. And then two, it is also interesting to see how the Andrade Malachi relationship is forming and how FTR kind of fits into this mold, because obviously it is a paid situation, but I don't know where do FTR's loyalties lie, and that is exactly what we kind of just talked about with there not necessarily being a linear path. Anything could happen.
I love it. I feel like having just like one final thought. I want to highlight Cody. I feel like Cody, I have to. If I don't say something about Cody, then I'm a liar. Cody has taken so much shit as an EVP, and he's been the only one to really sustain horrible losses and like very meaningful losses that have elevated other wrestlers. We talk about the TNT Championship. We talk about Brody Lee. He did that. We talk about, one of the pillars in Darby Allen. He did that as well. So like Cody gets such a bad rep for certain things, but I feel like this should be the start of his coming out party in terms of his own elevation, in terms of AEW. I feel like it's time to get. I love the American Dream, Cody Rhodes. Don't get me wrong. I miss the American Nightmare from those New Japan vignettes with the cigar in his mouth. I miss that. I miss the unpredictability of his character. I miss the nuances that he had. I miss him tearing the Elite and the Bullet Club essentially apart. I miss that, that heel persona. But I don't want to see the face antics leave him because he's so good at that, and he's so good at making you feel. There are certain wrestlers that when they get on the mic or they're in the ring, they're not believable. They're like, but Cody's the type of wrestler that just the moment he starts talking, and his voice cracks all the time. So Cody, he talks about his father, his sister, his daughter, anybody in his family. Cody's gonna cry. He's like Ric Flair with bleeding. Ric Flair's gonna bleed. Cody's gonna cry. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a thing, but he gets to you. So that's the only reason I feel like he's believable as either heel or face. So I want to see the next layer to his persona. I want to see where FTR's loyalties lie. I want to see who's going to be the first in the pinnacle to turn, because there is no honor amongst thieves, as they say. So, Lucha Bros are they going to lose their championships? There's so many things going on simultaneously within that one match, within the one aftermath of one match. And then you get Cody Rhodes and the Bastard Pac versus Andrade and Malachi Black. 2 years ago, we would not have had this match at all. 2 years. Now we have it. It's crazy.
I want what you want, for sure. And I think the people in general want Cody to turn. But I don't know if he will. And I don't know if it's just a work that he's just, trying to sprinkle the seeds of doubt that, no, I love you guys so much, I would never turn, while all the while it's planned for 6-8 months down the line, who knows? But as it stands, he seems pretty adamant that he still wants to remain this white knight for AEW. And I agree that while people do tend to boo him when he comes out, once he starts talking, people can't help but feel what he's putting out there. And by the end of it, people are cheering and they want to see him. So it is a very difficult position for him to be in, as well as also being kind of like this external face for the company, like doing all these Hollywood projects and everything like that. It has contributed to him getting a bad rap. But I do also hope that this is a turning point for him as well.
I think when you mentioned White Knight for AEW, we've noticed there have been a few people that have claimed to be White Knights that are turning face. They're turning from face to heel. And it's very important. Kenny Omega was one of the biggest faces at the beginning of all this. Now he's one of the biggest heels. John Moxley, before he went to rehab, one of the biggest faces, we were seeing his character transition to a darker persona. They don't like to keep people typecast as just one thing, and they make you wait for stuff. We had to wait for the cleaner, we had to wait for the god of professional wrestling. So why not have us wait a little bit longer for Cody to turn? So I'm excited to see where that character goes. I'm excited to see where we go now from here.
For sure.
Most definitely. Then we had a Darby Allen and MJF video package. I'm so ready for this match at Full Gear. I feel like the build has been great. Again, I just want to reiterate, when Darby tackled Max over that barricade last week, I thought he broke his back in half. Just the intensity between these two, I can't wait. And once again, going back to those pillars again, you've got Max, who is arguably one of the best on the mic, definitely the best on the mic in this generation, of this younger generation of wrestlers. I don't know anybody who can hang with Max on the mic like that. From the younger generation, from this younger generation. I mean, because Max is 20. Yeah, he's 24. He's 24, 25 years old. He's very young. I can't think of anybody. The only people I can think of that can keep up with him on the mic are all veterans.
Exactly.
And that's just a testament to his character. I think it was last week, there was a moment where Max was going, when he was yelling at Darby after their little scuffle, I just forever slightest of a second, I saw Ric Flair just emulated so much so from him. Like, in a movie when you just see somebody's face morph into somebody else, like it was one of those moments, like the energy, the delivery, everything, the intensity, all of it, it just screamed Flair. And I was like, as much as Max says it, he really is like that caliber of heel that we're going to have. Max is one of those people we're going to talk about as, 30 years down the line from now, we're going to be like, man, I remember when Max was coming on the scene and now he's done X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. And, I could see him going down as one of the greatest of all time already. And not taking anything away from Darby, because I'm a huge Darby Allen fan. I got one of the skateboards back there. But yeah, this match for me is one I'm going to be very, very much closely looking at on Saturday.
We talked about the future earlier. We talked about the next 5 years. This is that transition. This is like giving two future stars the platform to, in essence, help elevate each other, because they're very known. Like if you talk about AEW, you're either talking about MJF or you're talking about Darby Allen. You're mentioning them because of either MJF's promo skills or Darby's just don't give a shit, I'll break my entire body to win this match attitude. And when you have that kind of clash where, MJF is definitely an old school wrestler. He's a wrestler's wrestler, and he definitely loves the heel tropes. So seeing him up against a huge face like Darby Allen, and just like the crowd is behind both of them, like this is gonna be a real war. And I don't know who's gonna come out of this, but I just know they're gonna both be winners because they both are phenomenal professional wrestlers, and MJF is bound for greatness, and so is Darby Allen. I just feel like MJF's trajectory at this point to getting there, he has claims to having an AEW World Title opportunity stolen from him. So we already see Tony Khan is like, oh, like, if Hangman wins, we're gonna need a heel to go up against him. And who's the biggest heel we got? Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I'm better than you, and you know it. And imagine Hangman losing that title to MJF, which makes perfect sense.
That's exactly what we've talked about it so many times, and that's exactly how we want it to go down. Like, we both feel like Max should be the one to take that title off, and I feel like a lot of people feel it that way. I mean, let Hangman have his victory lap for a little while, but what did you say, Divine? At Double or Nothing, have Max yank it off of him?
Yeah, I said about 6 months.
Yeah.
Because Darby doesn't want it. Darby doesn't want it. Darby has expressed every single place he's been in, I don't give a shit about the world title. I could collect a fuck about it. Give me that TNT title, he says. And he's going to be the king of that shit. I feel like there's realms, and he knows IC championship, workhorse championship. TNT title, workhorse title. Then you got your main tier title. Not saying that they don't work in the main event, but you start at the workers belt and you move up. But Darby's like, I feel like taking the Miz approach to it. Like, I'm going to make this the most relevant, sought after title in AEW. When you mention AEW, you're going to mention the TNT title. You're going to mention its lineage. You're going to mention the past TNT champions that have held this. You're going to mention me. And, that's solidifying himself as greatness already, because he did have a really good reign as TNT champion. So I can understand it. But Max, definitely, I could see the next 6 to 8 months, him clenching that world championship and saying, I told you so, I'm better than you and you know it, and holding that championship hopefully for 2 years. Like, give him the Roman Reigns treatment once he has it. Don't let anybody beat him, and then have Wardlow beat him for that title. I feel like that is the perfect,
thank you. Like, let that be the fissure. Like, let that be the moment. Like, something happened in there that causes the rift to finally, just completely separate them. Have Wardlow build up to be this, unstoppable babyface, and then have him, beautiful full circle, finally defeat the tyrannic Max that has been, ruling AEW for however long it's been.
And then let
but
Max go to WWE or something. Let Max go to WWE. Let Max come back. Like Max has mentioned wanting to go to the E. Whether he's being sarcastic or not, I just feel like it's going to happen eventually. He's going to end up in the E. They're not going to use him properly. He's going to live out one contract there, and he's going to come right back to AEW. But I feel like no matter where he goes on the face of this planet, he's been amazing. I believe Chris, you're a fan of MLW, and he used to be in MLW as well, and he was a really big fixture there as well. So great things, expecting great things from him.
And honestly, even if Darby didn't want, even if Darby did want the title, he doesn't need it right now. MJF needs this title, and because he's currently undefeated in singles competition, and he's positioned himself so well by defeating Jericho, taking his spot, just like he's made good on every single promise that he's made up to this point. The only logical step from here is the world title. And I kind of agree. I really like the scenario that you guys kind of talked out here, where Wardlow kind of comes in and is kind of the champion at the end of the day. So I'm here for it. 2 years from now, MJF versus Wardlow, I'm in.
This is war. Then finally, to finish out the night, we had the contract signing between Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega. It's been a long time coming. This is a 2-year-long storyline that we have been watching and enjoying. And of course, we've been wondering where we had the formalities there. Hangman said his piece. Kenny said his piece. We signed the paperwork. Hangman made mention of what Kenny said to him at the end of their match when he said he was proud of him, and he, got fired up and was like, that was just you trying to keep me down and, not let the fire be lit within me from this loss so that I wouldn't come for that title, so that I wouldn't come for you. And of course, after, in standard smug Kenny fashion, at the end, he's like, I'm proud of you. And that's when the cameraman came out of nowhere and smacked Hangman Page across the forehead. And it's been the long-lost Don Callis that we've been missing so much. Yeah. Good finish. It's what we were expecting. We've been waiting to see where Don was going to pop up again. Obviously, it'd be now. Very excited to see what happens on Saturday. I don't know what would happen if Hangman didn't win. I feel like he could survive, but I just feel like it's time, because I feel like it was time at All Out. But, given circumstances with the birth of his child, and, good on AEW for letting real life come in to play and, push it to the side and figure other things out. But yeah, I feel like it's his time. I feel like it's just the right time to put the belt on him. I feel like I love Kenny to death, but I feel like his title reign has come to an end, as far as it being still on fire. I'm not saying the man doesn't put out a great match every time he's on in between those ropes, but definitely I feel like it's just time for him to drop that belt personally.
There's another championship I think he needs to hold again, and it's not in this promotion. And I'm sorry for all of you people there's a title he needs to hold that he didn't have the run he should have had with it. And I feel like if you're talking about the Forbidden Door and you're talking about Kenny Omega, the trip to Japan and going back and reclaiming the IWGP Heavyweight Championship that Okada is campaigning, because they're on a collision course. Him and Kota on a collision course. There's going to be matches between those guys again. And I want to see that for Kenny. And I want that for Kenny because, you never want to leave the place badly. And he didn't exactly have the best leaving in New Japan. So when you say it's time, I feel like it's time in AEW right now. He needs to go on hiatus to New Japan and finish some business over there and come back as a face. Let us miss you for a while. You've been on my screen too much. It feels like I have the Shane McMahon feel. When Shane came back, I was hyped. I was like, yes, the cleaner's back. Kenny's back. The click is back. Yes. Now it's like, I need to miss you. I need these things go away. Just go off my screen.
Just
Let
for a little
Hangman
while.
have his reign that we waited 2 years to culminate. And like, he's had so many opportunities, he's fallen short so many times. Like, this is a typical real life story. And like, when art imitates real life, it's really great. And I enjoyed every single second of it. I think this contract signing, the blood part, I feel like it's hit or miss. But I love what they did because I am so hyped for this match on Saturday night, and I'm ready. I'm ready to see these guys batter each other. I'm ready to see Hangman do cowboy shit, hit the buckshot lariat, and basically decapitate Kenny Omega and take his title. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I just don't know what I would do if he loses because there is always that possibility. Like the heart wrenching.
Yeah.
You came up short, and Kenny showing up on Dynamite next week. I told you. You can't keep up with me like that. That, you know, like, ugh.
Yeah, like I could, and it's just that level of unpredictability from AEW, because while everything's saying, yeah, Hangman's gonna win, yeah, he's definitely gonna win, it makes the most sense. There's still just that little bit of just, and you're just like, it wouldn't do that, right? But they've done other things.
You got Bryan Danielson in the rings,
right?
So
and they have
Bryan Danielson too for the title this time. Like,
but they could also have Kenny lose, and if Danielson wins and then loses to Page, what's stopping those two from having their match again? We could have that match again at Revolution.
I feel like stakes have to be high for that match. I feel like we had the match for non-title match, and you were just like, this was so amazing. You went the time limit and everything. The next one has to be for something. It has to be a stakes. It has to be higher.
But the thing that I have,
number one contendership, maybe. I don't know.
The thing that I have with it is, so hypothetically, Kenny wins at the pay-per-view. They're not going to put the strap on Danielson just yet. So then he beats Danielson. Who else is left to take the title off of? That's my only devil's advocate here is, where do you go if Hangman doesn't win?
I mean, potentially you could put the belt on Bryan. I mean, I don't think that they'll consider it too early because they're in direct competition with the E. And they're saying like they wouldn't like Tony Khan to stick it to freaking Vince would put that belt on Daniel Bryan. I feel like that would be like, yeah.
My one argument with that is that's not what Danielson's there for. And we all know what he's there for. He's there to have wrestling matches. And we all know if they put the big strap on him, they're not going to have him wrestling, Daniel Garcia's and everybody every week on every show.
That man got pulled. That man has super pull in AEW.
I know, but I'm just saying you're not going to have your top tier champion fighting your Bobby Fishes and all of the lower card guys that he's there to wrestle. Like he's there to wrestle the Wheeler Yutas and the Daniel Garcias and the Darby Allens and just everybody who's there. He loses a little bit of that if he has a strap on him. You know what I mean? And it also takes away from him being able to run off to go do who knows? Maybe he can run off with Kenny and they have their match in New Japan. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you have a lot more possibilities and a lot more like wiggle room and a lot more to play with if you have Danielson finally lose. And if you have him lose to your top tier champion, he's not really losing anything. And I'm sure whenever they do have that match, again, being very presumptuous here, but just for sake of argument, say Hangman does win and Danielson does win his match. That match, I feel like, is going to be another one of those matches where it's just this close. It could have been either one of them, but just one of them got the upper hand ever so slightly. So that's the only reason I feel like if the Danielson route, because again, I feel like because he's been on such a tear and he's been just wiping the floor with every size of wrestler that he's come in contact with since he's gotten here, who better as a final boss, barring Kenny Omega. I mean, Kenny Omega, again, best bout machine. But who else is more on fire in AEW right now than Danielson? And when I say on fire, I mean in the ring. CM Punk is definitely a draw. I'm not going to take that away from him. I mean, but he's a draw for a different reason. And I feel like he might be getting towards that after this feud with Eddie. But at the current moment, you have Danielson, who is just like, I'm sorry, he's the final boss right now, as far as in between those ropes. And so if you have Hangman beat him, then that, for me, solidifies him as the top dog. But that was AEW Dynamite. Like I said, I enjoyed it as a go-home show. Interested to see what happens on Rampage. Final thoughts from you guys?
Great show. Excited for the pay-per-view. That's all I got.
Only addition, I agree 100%. I'm interested to see what else might come out from Rampage. I think that the card is almost full. I think they've got room for one more, and I'm super interested to see what they, squeeze into that spot.
Indeed.
So, guys, thank you so much for watching our coverage of AEW Dynamite review show. Guys, if you liked what you saw tonight, please like, love, and share it to all your wrestling fan pages. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. I believe we have a YouTube page. Also, our sister channel, UPRE. Please follow them too. They have a bunch of amazing content that they put out every week, as well as us. I wish our backstage guy was here so I could plug everything. But for myself, for All Elite Joker, for Divine Intervention, we'd like to wish you all a good night. And thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you soon, guys. Take it easy.
See you.
Dang.